Welcome. Today our lesson intent is to understand tree diagrams and two-way tables. So let's get started. Let's say we had two coins. Now we know our two coins have one head and one tail. In this case, let's say we toss our first coin. So we'll put our first here, and it could either be a head or a tail. So these lines here, they are basically the beginnings of our tree. So sort of imagine a tree sort of sitting on its side. Then what we could do for our second coin, we could either get a head again, or we could get a tail. In our first instance, let's say we did get a tail. Our second time, our second coin, we could get a head, or we could get a tail. In our third column, what we want to write here is our outcomes. So, in our first toss of the coin, we could get a head, and in our second toss of the coin, we could get a head or a tails. So our outcome here for the first line would be head, head, or it could be head, tails, because it was a head and then it was a tails. Down here, it could have been a tails, and then it could have been a head, or it could have been two tails. So these outcomes here, which you're seeing, these are all the possibilities that we could have received had we have actually flipped those two coins. Okay, so now let's move this up a little bit. We can now turn this into a two-way table. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've drawn this two-way table. So let me explain it first. So here, obviously, we're dealing with coins. Here is our first coin, and we can either get a head or a tail. And our second coin, again, we could either get a head or a tail. So this information that we grabbed up here basically will come down into our two-way table. So let's fill it in. So here, if we go to our first column here, and we move out from our head, so we can go head, and then we move over to our second coin, and this is a head. So you can see that this here, this cell and this cell, they intercept in this cell here, making it heads, heads. Again, if we move over to here, this one here, it's a tails. And because it's happening in this top line, it's also a head. Again, here we can go T, and it's a H, T, T. And if you look at this table, and you look back up here, they are exactly the same. And that essentially is a very basic version of tree diagrams and also our two-way tables. Okay, so now for homework, I would like you to give it a go. So let's say we have one bag, and in that bag we have, let's say we have one red marble, okay, one blue marble, okay, and then in a second bag, we have one yellow counter, okay, counter, and we have one green counter. What I would like you to do is do a tree diagram. So I'm looking for a tree diagram and also a two-way table. So two-way table. Have a go at that and bring it into our next class.